Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to Genius School's webinar on Now is the Time. So now is the time for sure. I'm just going to share screen. Now's the time to share screen, Karen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So in this webinar, we're going to talk about how you can be involved in the education revolution with Genius School. And I think some of you may well know Karen and myself. So I'm Angie Stead, the co-founder and leader of Genius School. And I've got my amazing colleague here, Karen Bonanno, who is the Yay leader and founding educator for Genius School too. So this is going to be hopefully a fairly informal webinar and opportunity for a conversation if anybody has any questions. So what we're talking about here is, sorry, I'm just noticing that people are popping up, but Karen, you're seeing to that, aren't you?
I am, yes.
So evidence reveals that we're in the midst of a global learning crisis that threatens every country's efforts to build human capital. And that's a quote directly from the World Bank. And they're saying that we're actually in a learning poverty crisis. So, and they're saying the way we're going now, attaining the sustainable development goals is also at risk, including the goal to end extreme poverty. So poverty can take many, many forms, but when it's learning poverty, it can have a massive detrimental impact on every single one of the goals. So when we talk about human capital, what is human capital? Well, human capital is the skills, knowledge, and experience possessed by an individual or a population viewed in terms of their value or cost to an organization or to a country. So the skills and know-how needed for the jobs for the future are exactly what are needed in the form of human capital. And all research suggests that the pandemic can push 72 million more children into learning poverty. And that's a really scary number. But even more scary is the fact that 53% of children in low to middle income countries are deemed to be in learning poverty. And in poorer countries, that percentage is as high as 80%. So like I say, progress in reducing learning poverty is far too low for us to ever be able to meet the Sustainable Development Goal aspirations. So what do we do about this? And what does that mean to you? What does that mean to us? Well, Genius School offers programs for young people that develop the skills and know-how needed for jobs for the future. So we ignite the genius in young people and help them to understand that they are valuable and valued and that they can make a valuable contribution to society. And it's so, so important that our young people have a compelling future, have something to look forward to, and know that they're valued and valuable. So the top 10 skills of 2025 are the necessary skills for future success. And they are analytical thinking and innovation, active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality, and initiative, leadership and social influence, technology use, monitoring and control, and technology design and programming. I mean, I guess that's obvious to everybody, but resilience and stress tolerance as well, and flexibility, and flexibility, and reasoning and problem solving skills. And you can see there's a great mix of what are considered, I guess, cognitive abilities and traditional learning with what was known as the soft skills. And so these are all the skills that are needed for future success. So how do we teach them? What does the Genius School curriculum include? So our solution is whole child education and personalizing learning as we teach our young children self-awareness. We teach them to understand that they are a uniquely, perfectly imperfect individual, and that what's unique and special about them is what's different about them. So to go out and express their uniqueness to the world, to grow their unique talents and abilities in order to achieve self-mastery. And that's the core curriculum of Genius School. And everything we do ensures that we take our students on that pathway. So our personalized curriculum is based on 8 core principles that form a lifelong pathway. And essentially they're under the love of life, the love of what it is to be human, which is philanthropy, and the love of the world around us, philosophy. So our curriculum is about knowing and growing our unique talents, as I've just shared, developing team communication, relationship skills, the whole leadership capability, life skills, obviously the basic skills of the 3 R's, language, living, health and happiness, self-expression, exploring creativity, music, art and other forms of self-expression, and self-discovery, building skills in planning, research and decision-making, enterprise, learning about finances, entrepreneurship and resourcefulness as well. And this is all taught through experiential learning. Technology, learning critical thinking, coding and future technologies, and understanding that we are a global citizen, and understanding nature and sustainability. And as you can see from this slide and our personalized curriculum, it directly links to the top 10 skills of 2025, needed by 2025. So what will education look like in 5 years? Well, schooling's changed a lot, and COVID has had a lot to do with that. But that only accelerated the change, because that change was happening even before COVID happened. So what's now recognised is the importance that the communities and other formal education providers and institutions and businesses and entrepreneurs and people in the extended community, the impact that they will have and need to have on the future of education. So it's looking at what will education look like in 5 years? It will look like schooling extended. There'll be a lot of learning hubs, and also, for Genius School in particular, we'll have our own learning hubs and micro schools, location-based schools and universities, but also our online curriculum. So it will be education outsourced. So traditional schooling systems will break down as society becomes more directly involved in educating their citizens. And this is what we're talking about here as well, on how every one of you can be involved in educating our future citizens, our current citizens, to be, contributors to society in the future. And schools as learning hubs, and I've just mentioned that as well, having learning that's beyond the 4 walls of the school, connecting to communities, and learning happening through many different diverse education hubs. And entrepreneur resorts are certainly, I don't know what I've just done here, entrepreneur resorts are certainly one of those, or a few of those learning hubs too, as well as online. I'm just trying to get rid of all the mess off my screen, sorry guys. And learning as you go, so education takes place everywhere, anytime, and there's less distinction between formal and informal learning. All learning is valid, and society needs diversity in learning in all shapes and forms. So it's really important that we're aware of that we're no longer looking at a school building or one school or one institution to be the source of all learning and knowledge for our children. We need to reach out to the wider community, and the community need to take responsibility, because we are building human capital, and that's going to have an impact on every single one of us into the future. So I would like to hand over to Karen, and Karen's going to share a little bit with you about some of the programs that we're running just over this next few months. or that we've just run as well, Karen. So I'll let you share a little bit about that.
Oh, thanks, Angie. Yeah. Yes, so I'm going to share some of the programs that Genius School offers, and we've had recently in January and in February a couple of those programs. So I'll just share my screen as well so that you can see the range and variety that we have there. And I'll just move a few things around here so it's not getting too distracted. So I always need to check in with Angie that I am showing the right screen. Is that right, Angie? Good. You'll some of you'll see that we do little signs here, the thumbs up and the thumbs down, and if you can't hear. These are all ways that we interact with our kids when we're online. So the first program that we have, which is a foundation program, is our micro camps. Now, we were running those face-to-face as 2-day events, and a number of those we've had sponsors supporting the full camp, or we've had sponsors actually providing scholarships to have a number of young people there. And so the face-to-face, as I said, was 2 days, but then all of a sudden, as we all know, in February last year, things started to be shaking down, and we had to do this shift very quickly into a virtual environment. And we were all wondering whether that would work, and it did. In fact, it is just so exciting to be able to connect with kids from around the world now. And we had a recent micro camp, which was UK, Europe time. So we had kids from South Africa, UK, Sweden, even Malaysia, where else? France. So it was really great to have all those kids in our space. And for some of those kids, they were actually supported by some people to be there who had got the ticket and handed it on so that those kids could be in the space. Last year, we had a whole virtual camp that was supported by actually a government grant. Previous to that, we had a face-to-face that was supported by a sponsor. It was a corporate group that was very interested in the STEM sense of the programs. So all of this have been in place along the way, as well as we have a fee base as well. But with the micro camps, it's a great opportunity to have young people engage, in particular, to find out their natural talent and capabilities and skills in the first instance, and then to see, well, what value can I add? Now that I know who I am and how I show up, what's the value that I can add? And so we have some absolutely amazing presentations at the end of the camp where these kids are sharing with us how they see the world needing to change. And I can assure you that all of our educators and facilitators who are involved in the program are actually saying to us, wow, I feel that the world is in better hands with these kids, because they really do have a view of the world that they need to share. So the micro camp gives us the great foundation. And then the next program is our Teen Quest. And this program is really geared to developing the future ready skills. So setting them up for the future and how they're going to be able to work in that space, learning those skills that Angie shared. And I might just add, some of you may have heard of the term evidence-based, and a lot of our programs are built on that evidence base. So we do the background research in finding out what is out there, what's happening. So all of that shift to personalised learning, authentic experiences, personalised learning moments for them, all that is built into our programs. So with the Teen Quest, it is developing those future ready skills, but it's also getting the kids to start to become stronger in gaining their voice. So it means that we want them to develop a persuasive, purpose-based project that, again, is taking things to a higher level. And what it's doing, it's developing these future skills that they will need either in a workplace if they're an employee, or maybe they become a young entrepreneur or an employer at some stage. So they then get to understand, well, what are the skills that we need? Because an interesting article that I read indicated that within the next 5 years or so, we are going to all need to be working on and learning on the job rather. So 30%, like a third of our working life, will be constantly upskilling to stay ahead because of the impact of things like artificial intelligence, automation, all of those things that impact and are starting to do some of the labour intensive jobs that would normally be done manually. So we're getting these kids ready, and it's the Teen Quest is the program that we have that gets that underway. And then our Key Star project is the Young Entrepreneur Academy. So this is where we've got the kids coming in and they're learning what it is to be a young entrepreneur. So we actually take them through, how can I say this? It's an adult program built around what it is to be an entrepreneur, but we bring it down into elements whereby it's easier for the kids to digest. And we spend a lot of time in facilitation. We spend a lot of time interacting with them and helping them to understand and apply the learning. Angie, would it be all right if I actually shared some of the promotion plans that the kids?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me bring this up and hopefully you will see it. So thumbs up, Angie, if you can see the promotion plan. Okay, great. Thank you. So Luke is 15 and he came onto our program and he had an idea for a business, but he had a certain mindset around how that business was going to be developed. But he fully engaged and he was open to the learning. And this is something I really love about working with the teens, is I find actually they're more open to learning than adults. Now, apologies to all the adults on the call, but these kids are far more open. And in fact, they put us to shame with the ability of what they're able to present to us. So Luke's promotion plan was all around his business growth consultancy, in being involved in digital marketing. And I see Dad's on the call. So hello, Rich. Good to have you here. So he was able to tell us a lot about his business, and then through the program, developing certain things. So we get them aware of the customer avatar. So we get them into this mindset, which is, what is your customer's problem? Now find something to solve that problem. Don't come from the point of view of, I have this whiz-bang product, and here it is. It's taking them through that whole entrepreneurial journey. And then, of course, we look at looking at what we call the 5 Ps. And so we take it through. So all the way through, these kids are learning these entrepreneurial skill set that will set them up for success in the future. Also setting up realistic, smart goals in around finances, what they're going to do to develop their business, what they're going to learn. And so we get them working through this whole process. Then, just to put a whole different spin on it, moving from a digital business to a bee business, a honey business. So Alex is a very young entrepreneur. He's 13 and he already was starting his bee business, but was really trying to work out, well, how do I grow it? How do I scale this up? And so for him, as you can see, he's got an amazing little bee there, and he developed his on the same steps that we have, a 10-step program, setting up his future vision and doing the same thing and working his way through what his promotion plan is about how he's going to get his customer. So for him, it's a family and they're wanting to get sustainable, raw, really great, tasty honey rather than the stuff that you buy from the store. And so developing his promotion plan the same way. So as you can see from that, these kids are really stepping up with some of the programs that we are offering. So I'll just drop that down. So that's our particular programs that we're offering there. And so we're really developing these capabilities and skills. And as I said, for a number of them, we do provide an opportunity to have kids come in who come from, say, a lower socioeconomic background, or they're experiencing difficulties whereby their parents don't, or their caregivers don't have the funds to be able to access these programs. But what we've found over the years is the kids who come in, that we've given them the opportunity to have sponsorship or a scholarship, we find that they absolutely excel. We see a different kid by the end of 4 weeks or even our 3 half days than what they came into when they first arrived to come into our program. So I thought I'd just share some of their stories. So this is Katie, who is 12, and she came to us under a sponsorship, the corporate business sponsorship. And for her, she came to our Genius camp, and this was when we were doing our face-to-face. And for Katie, it was, for those who aren't familiar with, so this is an Australian education system. So it's their very first year that they're in high school or secondary school. So for her, she was transitioning out of the primary elementary and coming into the high school. So she was feeling this high level of anxiety about how she was going to survive. And so in the 2-day camp, in exposing her to all the things about talent dynamics for young people, what it is to align your talents and your passions and your purpose, and being on purpose and making a significant contribution, she was able to then say to us, look, this is what I've experienced. So saying I was anxious, I didn't believe in my own skills. I was pushing myself to get better results, because for those of you who are familiar with the profiling, Katie is a Lord profile, so you will understand why she was setting herself up in that way. And then what she did, she said, I found out how to utilize my natural skills to have the best success and also to bring out the best in others. I now know how to play to my strengths and get the results that I want. So we spent time with Katie, but also with her mum at the camp. So that was great to connect parent and child in that way. And then in our virtual program that we did for a Genius camp, this is Jody, who is the mum of Morgan. Now, Morgan is only a young genius camper, 12 years of age again. And so for Jody, she was skeptical about whether the Genius camp would really do anything to help Morgan. And what we've seen, we've had contact and communication with Jody all along the way. And actually Morgan came into our Young Entrepreneur Academy as well. But for her, as you can see, the mum is just saying that there's a massive change that she saw in her confidence over the 3 days. And for us, I have to share that we're also, our mind is blown as well. We sit back and go, oh, wow, we cannot believe these kids are just stepping up and being who they are by the end of the time that they're with us in the program. And so her, she's saying that she discovered her genius strengths, her passions, purpose, and her own determination. And so Morgan selected the UN goal of life on the land, and they were just amazing at what they did in that time. They ended up sharing with us how in the pandemic we needed to be taking care of the environment by making sure that all of this washing of our hands using commercial products was not going to be sustainable for the environment. So we had to think about how we made our own. And so Morgan and her buddy that was with her, they demonstrated making this sustainable organic hand cleaner, and they had us totally bluffed that they were actually using all the right ingredients, but then they confessed to us, no, we're just using water. So, but just their creativity, their imagination is stimulated. And so these kids, you can see that our future is in good hands when you see and experience and hear the work that these kids do. So it's been great to continue the journey with Morgan as well. And then you might think, well, okay, that's younger kids. Well, let me step up here to Lyndall, who is a first-year university student. And she participated in a camp the one we had face-to-face. And it was all about really gearing them up and giving them the skills to be a better and smarter learner. And so for Lyndall, she says here that she was struggling with her first year, because often what happens, there's this whole nurturing, structured environment that we have within traditional schooling. And then all of a sudden they graduate out of traditional schooling and they come into university and they don't have those life skills. They don't have the skills of knowing what it is to be an independent learner. And so for Lyndall, she really benefited from being at the camp to be able to learn how she could manage her learning, but also managing her schedule and setting herself a goal that was achievable, that she could then gain higher grades, was what she set herself. So that's Lyndall. And then if I go to my last one, which is probably a great example of the impact that we have on young people when they cannot afford to come to our programs. So this was one of our virtual camps. And as you can see, we're all learning how to smile in that one. And so for this one, this was Melissa, who's the mum of Willow. And as you can see there, and I'm going to read it because I think it has significant relevance here. She says that we live in a van in my parents' backyard because we can't even secure a rental premises and we live off government benefits due to health conditions. I think it's great that you can offer scholarships so kids like Willow can attend. Thanks for the awesome experience. And it was really great to see how Willow was really quite reserved and a little bit unsure about what was happening here, but then to see how Willow engaged in the program and just played full on in doing all of our learning activities and our challenges that we had in place, and then contributed significantly then when we brought them together as a team on the last day to work on a purpose-based short, give us something, get us off our backsides and get us doing something to change the world. So this is really great when we see these things happening with these kids in this environment. So that's really the benefit of what can happen when we have sponsors, or we have people who are willing to support a child through their whole learning journey with us. So I thought I'd stop there, Angie, and I mean, if there's any questions that people have about what I've shared, happy to answer those.
Cool, great opportunity now to answer questions while I prepare to share again in a moment. So are there any questions? You can either put them in chat or open your mic, because it's a small enough group to be able to do that, I think. All right, shall I? Okay, Karen, shall I?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Okay, so just to reiterate really what we've just been sharing, it's sadly so many young people from low to middle income families are unable to access our programs because of financial hardship, and that's creating more learning poverty. And remember those stats of 53% of low to middle income countries or communities are in this situation. And it's our belief that, and this is a great African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And we believe that wholeheartedly. Education initiatives alone are not enough to fight against learning poverty. We need an integral, multicultural approach supported by actions beyond the education sector. And that's why we're having this webinar. We need to be looking beyond. We need to be looking at the role of families, the role of communities, and also the role of business and entrepreneurship in supporting our students to raise their to build human capital, essentially, is what I'm saying. Karen, I'm just going to plug my computer in. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Might go a bit dark. I hope you can, is that all okay? You might not be able to see me so well, but you can see the slides, so that's a good thing. So I'd like to look at share our sponsorship opportunities with you in the hopes that one or two or some of you are inspired to take action and support the education revolution with sponsorship. And we've made it super easy for anybody to be involved and to take some steps in sponsoring a young person. And that's, we've got 3 levels of sponsorship. We have level 1, which is essentially being able to sponsor a young person through 2 of our programs, or through 2 action steps, I should say, for just $197. So that sponsorship, your $197 would normally, the wholesale rate for those programs is $442. So we're essentially sponsoring 50% of that cost ourselves. So we're saying if you pay $197, we'll cover the rest. So, and for that, our young people get their team dynamics for young people, the Talent Dynamics profile, and they get a spot in our micro camp. So the micro camp was the stories Karen was sharing before about those amazing transformations that young people had. But on top of that, you know, you can tap into your business marketing budget, because we'll also have your logo or branding on the Genius School website for 3 whole months. So you'll feature as a sponsor on our website. So it's a great way to demonstrate your social responsibility as a business. And that is just $197. But then if you are inspired to go to the next level up, that's our silver level sponsorship. So that is $597. Again, the normal rate will be $1,134, but we are sponsoring 50% of that. So for that, we can get 2 Teen Dynamics tokens. So we can do a profile and debrief of 2 teens, not 1. Offer a spot in our Genius Micro Camp, value of $345, but also a spot in the Genius School Teen Quest. And that was the program Karen was sharing about earlier, where they're learning those project management, essentially, skills and capabilities. And then you would get your logo and branding on the Genius School website for 6 months. And the great thing about this level of sponsorship too is that you'll be invited to judge on the Genius School Micro Camp competition. So where Karen was talking about that amazing, environmentally friendly, hand-washing concoction that the students fooled her with in role modeling or creating, acting out what they created. We have like, I guess like a Lion's Den thing, where the students can go and pitch their product to some of the judges on the panel that are the Genius School facilitators and you. So if you choose to sponsor at this level, you have the opportunity to come and experience the transformation firsthand. And that is such a fantastic experience for anybody, such a heartwarming opportunity. So, and also on top of that, you would get the Crisis Leadership Academy micro course, which is on Genius U, and the total value for that is normally $1,429. So we'll be offering all of that for just $597. So you get the training, you get the marketing for 6 months on our website, your logo and your branding, as well as having our students go through 3 of our learning experiences. So massive, massive impact on teens. And then there's the higher level sponsorship. Now the higher level sponsorship is the gold sponsor. If you sponsor at the gold level, which is actually $1,200, then your branding and logo will be on our website for a whole year. So again, that means you can use your marketing budget to sponsor a young person, and it demonstrates that you're a socially responsible business too, which a lot of people are looking for. And for that, you get to sponsor 2 teens to take their Teen Dynamics test. You get a teen to experience our micro camp worth $345, another opportunity for a teen to go through our Teen Quest program, which is valued at $595, and then also our Young Entrepreneur Academy, which is our top level entrepreneurial program for teens, and the value of that is $997. So your sponsorship funds really go a long way with the gold level sponsorship. And like I say, you get your logo and branding on our website for 12 months. And you also get to come and judge on our Genius Micro Camp, which, as I say, is a great experience. And then on top of that, you get our Marketing and Sales Micro School, and the value of that is $1,200 alone. So you get to spend your $1,200 on your own training. You get 12 months of your logo and branding on our website, and you get to make all those impacts for teens at the same time. So it's a super duper special offer and opportunity to really make a difference in the lives of young people. So does anybody have any immediate questions as I go through this? We all good? So just saying how we are for time. I'll just take us through. Karen, you might need to tell me if you can see the screen.
Yes, all good.
Okay, so I'm going to just go through the landing page so you can see the different levels and the impact you can make. Actually, Karen, can I ask you, because I need to get a glass of water,
okay,
to just take over for a second? Sorry.
All right, well, righty, I can do that. Always good to play tag team here. Let's me get the information up and onto that page. Here we go, and I'll share screen. Okay, here we go. So this is, as Angie said, our landing page for the sponsor program, and this gives you an introduction to our faculty. Here we've got our actual leaders of each of our programs. So there's Kerry, who is the leader for our Genius Camps and also has a very strong interest in teen health. Leonie is the Teen Quest leader, and Leonie comes with a background in education with kids and very successful work that she does. And also then yours truly with the Young Entrepreneur Academy, and then Angie being the one who steers our ship and keeps us on the right path. So Angie's really great in supporting us as educators. And then we have a group of educators who then support us, and they come in as facilitators through the program. So everybody, adult, I guess I can say, every adult that's involved in the program is an experienced certified Genius School educator. So they understand the background that's needed in regard to supporting kids through that whole foundation right through to developing their skills and capabilities, and then coming out also too as a Young Entrepreneur Academy. So on this page, it gives you a little bit more information about the programs and what's involved, and some of the core, I guess, essential items that surround the program. So there's the Teen Quest there, and then there's also the Young Entrepreneur Academy. So you can see we start from ages as young as 10 right through to 18, and also we have some specific programs that are for the teens as well. So these are reasons why you may, Angie has sort of said that it could be that from you as an individual that you're keen to have an impact in a young person's life and to support them. And of course, there's all ways that we can connect you in that space. Also, you get that Crisis Leadership Academy, so you get that extra benefit for yourself as an entrepreneur or a business person, and then you get the feature on the website as well. But if you're coming from a business angle, it can be that you're using some of your corporate social responsibility budget to allocate, and we can get permission so that you can get some little video clips that you may also use. So we always get permission from our parents for anything that we capture during the program, and then that way then they know what we're using it for as well. So this is the breakdown of the program, and as Angie shared with you, it's having a massive impact, and some of the stories that I shared will give you background to that at every level we see this significant change. And we see them coming out bolder and stronger and more courageous as individuals, and really on the market when it comes to being on purpose, either with a purpose-based project or on their business as well. And I have to do a little bold statement here. I think that at our Young Entrepreneur Academy, we have a higher level of success of kids turning up and producing promotion plans than maybe what is experienced with the adults. So you get that branding on our website, and you get that acknowledged depending on the level of sponsorship that you pick up. So there's different levels, and so for gold level, it's getting access to all of that as well. A nice little letter there from Roger, who is a co-founder with the Genius School and also involved in the Genius Group. As the leader and founder of the Genius Group, and then Angie, co-founder and leader of our Genius School. And then if I go down here, this is giving more information about the different programs that we've just talked about and the different stages of what you would get depending on the level of sponsorship that you are willing to support. I mean, even coming in at a 1997 really can make a difference to a young person's life. But that if you want to take them on a journey right through for the year, because we do have our events running. As I said, we had just had the Young Entrepreneur Academy program in January. We've had the first micro camp for the year. We've got another micro camp coming up in April, and then the Teen Quest in April. Then we've got the Young Entrepreneur Academy in July. So you can see there's a rolling through of the events. So you can have this massive impact on a young person's life through the year, or even just through the 6 months, depending on how serious and how you want to be involved in supporting our young people. So that's, I think, a little bit more information of stories from people whose kids have come through the various programs. Here we've got one from Sylvia about Ben and Vanessa, how they engaged in the Young Entrepreneur Academy, and significant changes. Ben, again, is someone who has really stepped up and taken his podcasting business to a whole new level. In fact, right at the moment, I think he is holding a Young Entrepreneur Summit. So he has just been one of our amazing achievers through the Academy, and we stay connected with these kids as well. Some little videos there if you want to look at those. So Angie, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you, Karen. I'm so sorry about that. Thanks for rescuing me. I'm sure you wouldn't have wanted me coughing and spluttering all over the place. So much appreciated. Thank you. So does anybody have any questions around what we've covered so far, or about the levels of sponsorship, or about the impact? Absolutely any questions whatsoever.
Hi, Angie. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hiya. It's all very inspiring. To what extent do you determine which kid's getting sponsored? And for example, I can think of a couple of refugees that I'd like to sponsor. But if I was doing the program, does that mean that you allocate the sponsorship, or could I suggest someone?
You can bring the sponsors in. So if you were to sponsor a team, I mean, we obviously it's a virtual program, and we have it running in a time zone or a number of time zones. So it depends on their availability and the accessibility of the program. But we would work with you. So if you had young people that you had in mind to be sponsored, we'd be very happy for them to join us. Okay. If you were sponsoring them through the program, for sure.
Because
yes, sorry.
The time zone was a difficulty for this particular. I was going to give him my yay support, but the time zones didn't work for him and the school schedule. But as you expand, I think that would be something I'd be really interested in doing.
Yeah, and the more demand we have in other time zones, the sooner we'll run programs in them time zones too. But we also try and structure our programs. We have them that they're recorded, and we can sometimes, depending on demand, have the implementation sessions in more friendly time zones, and have them watch the recordings in between. So there's lots of ways we can make it more accessible, is what I'm trying to say. But definitely, if you have people in mind that you'd like to sponsor, we'd be very keen to work with you on that too. Would you like to add anything to that, Karen?
Oh, only to say, I think that is all part of when you let us know what you're wanting to do. We've got that already inbuilt, that if you already have someone you know, you can say, yes, I have a couple of kids or whatever. And then we work with you to get them in line with the time zone that's more conducive for them. And as Angie said, we're running them like we just ran the UK Europe. The Teen Quest is going to run across NASA, Europe and Australasia. And also the YAY will be the same in July, August. It will run across the 3 time zones.
Yeah, cool. And great that you're stepping up and making a difference to young people. I just love that. It's so heartwarming. And, you know, when we've had the opportunity, because we've had sometimes whole camps sponsored, And, you know, we've sponsored camps as well. So when we've been training educators, like in Bali, when we've had our educator training going, we actually run a camp for the orphans in Bali, so that they get to learn how to run a camp whilst running a camp. And every single time it ends up with us in tears, and often the students too, because they have such amazing transformations and such heartwarming experiences. I mean, they were teaching us all these signs for love and appreciation and gratitude, and they came in with their heads down and not wanting to talk and not really engaging with the facilitators, and they left with their heads held high, feeling so good about themselves, and you could just see the confidence shining out of them, you know, totally different people by the time they left that day. In fact, for that camp it was one day. And you know, also with the camps we do a session with the parents, so we'll have the 3 virtual sessions with the teens, and then we'll bring the parents in at the end. And even just that short time with the parents, they see their teen in a whole different light very often. And equal both sides. You know, the teen will say, oh, I totally get now why I sometimes clash with my mum, or I clash with my dad, or, you know, I see that, you know, I thought my teacher thought I was stupid, but I know now that he was just a different profile to me and I misunderstood. Or it's just, the transformation is just mind-blowing. So it's really, really good because it's experiential. So it's not just us delivering knowledge, they go through experiences that let them appreciate how amazing they are, and builds their confidence. Would you like to add anything, Karen, being the camp extraordinaire?
Well, only to say that every camp that I've been involved in, I am just blown away at the change. I mean, at the recent camp, we had a situation where we thought, oh, this kid isn't really going to do anything. You know, they're just going to sit there for the whole session. And on the last day, they just blossomed. They just really got into their zone. Okay, they didn't have their camera on, but if you're familiar with the energies, steel, sometimes we get kids who start off the camp on the virtual and they're way back here and they're down here. And then by the end of the camp, we've got them up here and they're all keen and they're all smiling and they're doing crazy things like a smile or funny. And so, yeah, by the end of it, we've got these kids fully engaged and really kind of living out who they are, which is great.
That's so true. And there's a question from Ross here. What's the future of Genius School as far as language translation to expand our reach globally? So what we're doing for that at the moment, Rich, and Ross, I should say, sorry, is we are training educators all over the world. So we have our Genius Educator training, and we normally run that twice a year. And we're training our educators to run the camps, both virtually and face-to-face, and to facilitate our YAY program, and soon we'll be training them to facilitate the Teen Quest as well. And the reason we're doing that is we're building a global community of Genius educators. We've already got them in Canada, the US, Australia, New Zealand, UK, certain parts of Europe, and I can't even remember all the other places. We've got South Africa. We have educators all over the world. So we are growing our community of educators so that post-COVID, these programs can be run face-to-face, and that people aren't relying on me and Karen, or me, Karen and Kerry to be there to run the programs. They can be run in your own community, in your own community halls, etc., and in your own language. So it's definitely something that we are doing right now to make sure that this content and this education is accessible to all, because we too see that we're responsible for future generations. And yes, I have children and grandchildren, but it goes way beyond that, you know, and we get to reap the rewards of seeing the transformation, and that really does motivate us to keep wanting to do more, which is why we're reaching out to you. We know what an impact this has, and we'd like to give many other people the opportunity to just experience a taste of what it means to really make a difference in the life of a young person, which is why we like to invite you to come to that final day on the camp, because you really get an essence of what kind of experience the young people have had and the growth that they experience too. So for those of you who are interested in sponsoring, just book a call with us. If you're not sure what level to sponsor at, just book a call with us and you can talk to our team about it. So, you know, even at the low level at $197, it's not a huge amount of money to donate to sponsor a child for, but because we've done as much as we can to make the most of the value of your $197, actually the impact that has on young people is priceless. So I would definitely say, you know, whatever level you can sponsor, I really do strongly encourage you to book a call and have a conversation with the team or reach out to us. Karen's put the link, Penny's put the link in the chat here for you to book a call. And thank you for attending. And I really look forward to sharing the stories of the teens whose lives you've impacted by making this sponsorship donation. So thank you, Karen, for rescuing me from my coughing fit.
It's okay, Angie. We're across everything. So it's been great to share this with you, and certainly look forward to those who want to join us on this journey to support our young people. And as we said, we engage you along the way, have you fully involved. And these young people, for instance, with the camp where we had a corporate sponsor sponsored the whole camp, we had them there involved in the camp as well. So they come along not only as there for the presentations and doing the judging, well, we call it Shark Tank. I think, Angie, I'm not quite sure you had something else, but yeah, so all involved there. And we actually had the kids write a letter of thanks to the sponsor, and they were able to put it up in their foyer area. So they had all these letters from the kids sitting up in the foyer area of their business, so that people who came into their business could see the significant contribution they had made for the kids.
And this is quite new to us as well, to reach out. You know, we've had some sponsors in the past, but to reach out in this way is quite new to us. But, you know, looking at gold level sponsorship, with that level, there's the potential to take the child from the very beginning of our journey to the very end. And our goal is, if we have gold level sponsors, is to create a story around that journey so you can see and share the impact that you've had on that teen's life over the whole 12-month journey. So it's really, really exciting, and it'll be real good fun to do. And I'm sure the most rewarding thing for you too. And remember, education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. I mean, that quote of Nelson Mandela has never been true as it is today, especially in this time of learning poverty. Yes, sorry.
Hi, sorry to interrupt again, just because I know a number of companies that may be interested in the future in sponsoring. What sort of level of sponsorship would I be talking to them about if they wanted to do a whole camp?
Can you, maybe we can message you, because it depends how many, so book a call with us and we can talk to you about that. It depends how many people they want at the camp. So one corporate sponsor we had said, right, I want to do a camp, but I want it to be for these students, and I think it was 20. So we organised a deal with them to take just those 20 students through the camp. They're doing exactly what we're talking about, mapping the journey as they go through other programs. So we always make it as accessible as we can. So we'll do as cheap a deal as we possibly can to access as many students as that corporate sponsor wishes to work with. So if you can book a call with us, we can work out different packages, because that sounds great. Yeah. So do that.
Just thinking of opportunities to know what to say if the opportunity arises, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a good
Cool.
question to ask, because it gets us thinking that way too. You know, maybe we should have a corporate sponsor for a whole camp and you can do it at this price. So we'll take that on board for next time. But we'll work it out.
I think particularly if you were doing like a high-tech camp, the Teen Quest or something,
Yes.
perhaps companies like Google or some of the cryptocurrency people might be interested in associating themselves with that.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah. Cool. Good thinking. Thank you.
Just thinking out loud. Thank you. I'll book a call.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you
Jax.
then. Thank you everybody for attending. It's great to see you all. Yeah, great to see you, Rich. Say hi to Luke.
Okay, bye.
Bye.